Hey, how's it going? My name's Peter. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we generated a 6.5 ROAS in 30 days for a luxury e-commerce brand. All right, so let's go ahead, hop right into it, and I'll show you the strats that we used. Now, as you can see, this is kind of the overview from June. So you can see this just pulls data from, this is our custom dashboard, of course, but this pulls data from all the channels that we want. So we won't be covering Google Ads in this video, but obviously that's its own can of worms with a 13x return. I'll just be going over the Facebook side of things. And in this case, they spent around 13K and generated about 83 in return. All right. So let's go ahead and hop right into the strategies here. So the first thing is, obviously this is June. Again, I'm just going to make sure you can see everything. The first is really our targeting for top of funnel. So let's go over that first. What we have found for especially luxury e-commerce in this day and age for Facebook and Instagram, even TikTok, is going to be stacked audiences. This works, again, this is for TikTok too, but stacked audiences are the way to go. So really, we have a combination of stacked lookalikes and just stacked interest. So for our interest, we really just have a bunch of different stacked audiences. And the way we do stacked audiences is we have our key interest, which for this brand is jewelry. And we have our sub interest, which basically it's like, here's our key interest. Our audience has to be interested in this one thing. Otherwise they don't even qualify. And if they are interested in this one thing, they probably are also interested in these 4 to 5 other things. So that's why we have these sub interests. So we have our key interest, our sub interests, and we keep it pretty broad on age and everything like that. And that's really our key targeting. We do some custom placements, but for the most part, these placements, we just focus on the key kind of biggest players when it comes to those. So that's really all it is. So we have a bunch of different stacked interests. Here's a lookalike, which we'll go over in a second. When it comes to those interests, again, just our key one audience, and then we're going to go into our sub interests. So again, here's when we're testing our key audience, and then of course our sub interests, keeping everything else pretty open. Again, we do just focus on the core mediums for showing ads, and that's it. That's really all we're doing. So we have a bunch of different combinations for those stacked interests. Highly recommend you try those if you have not already. And then we go ahead and have our broad lookalikes. So for broad lookalikes, again, they're stacked, but they're also broad. So 1 to 5% is actually pretty broad, and that is of 180-day initiate checkouts. So we're picking initiate checkouts because we want to have people more interested. We don't need purchases per se, because that is good, but it's going to get our audience a little bit too small. So we actually expand that back a few steps, not add to cart, but initiate checkout, 180-day, 1 to 5%. So a very broad lookalike audience, and also a fairly low part of the funnel as an initiate checkout, but still high enough to where we have a pretty good audience size. And then of course, we're just doing a purchase lookalike as well, 5%. So very broad lookalike, again, stacked, but we're kind of focusing on lower parts of the funnel to actually target there. All right. So we have a few different lookalike variations. Again, keeping it broad, keeping that stacked. That's kind of like what we're focusing on. And those have been working somewhat well. Same thing for our interest stacked audiences. Those have been working well. We also did do some customer list lookalikes. So 1 to 10%. So very, very broad. And that has been working well. But I would say those lookalikes, they do well, but this audience stacks are the best performers, as you can see here. These got probably the most purchases, I would say, for sure, during that July period. So audience stacks, definitely great. This one in particular, Famous Magazine one, was, I think, our top performer. So again, very good to just hit that key interest and then your sub interests as well. All right. When it comes to creative, really simple. So we focus on very broad creative. All right. So creative that's somewhat polished, but also pretty authentic. It doesn't look too done up. And that's what we focus on. So as you can tell, it's definitely polished, but it's fairly authentic. It's not too magazine-y or Photoshop-esque. It's quite authentic. It feels like someone could have taken it with their phone. And that's the aesthetic we go for. Same thing with the videos. That's all the kind of aesthetic we go for. All right. So really simple creative that just catches your attention. It's kind of that nice middle ground between production and not. And for copy, really just 3 lines, our call to action at the bottom. And when it comes to branding and copy, you want to have 3 to 6 key phrases or words that you identify the brand with, and to always be using those phrases, those words, those kind of mantras in your ads repetitively. So when people see them, they associate with the brand. And for them, that's 14 karat solid gold, never plated nor vermeil. Those are the kind of things that this brand associates themselves with. So you want to have those, and that's what we focus on. All right. So have those key phrases, those key mantras, and that's what you should be using as your copy. And of course, testing those and seeing which ones are actually effective so you can be sure that the data lines up, right? But again, 3 lines, call to action, have your key phrases, your mantra in that copy. All right. For headlines, we just keep it simple. Same kind of thing, our key mantras. All right. And we're switching these out about every 2 to 3 weeks. All right. So that's really it for top of funnel. Interest stacks, lookalike stacks, very broad lookalikes when we're doing those. 3-line copy, CTA, have our key mantras there, and creative that's kind of in between high production and authentic. It's kind of in the middle. We do reels, we do static images. It all works well, but just making sure that we maintain that kind of aesthetic. All right. Middle funnel, we separate into catalog and conversions. And because this brand is a bit higher AOV, the middle funnel is actually, we are doing some retargeting in middle funnel because it just takes a longer time for people to decide to purchase these products. So really what we focus on in middle funnel, again, is going to be our catalog. I'll go over that first. So we just have our catalog collections. And for these, super simple, what we focus on is just, viewed or added to cart but not purchased, 90 days. Very simple, right? So we're just going to be showing people the products they recently viewed. So they're kind of still in that consideration phase. We also do a bunch of different customer list exports. So we're just trying to get some more people in the funnel there. And this really goes for all our catalog audiences. It's just going to be different combinations of the way we're showing people products they recently looked at. So we'll have different options for these. This is the main one though, and then some different customer exports from the store itself. And when it comes to catalogs, we're just taking our top catalogs, really, really simple. This is going to be just the top products all in a row. Quite simple, nothing to it. And again, our 3-line copy is back at it again. But really just showing people the products they recently looked at. Very simple, really nothing to that. All right. And then when it comes to our middle of funnel non-catalog focused campaigns, so just conversions, we're doing kind of a bit of a combination of website visitor retargeting, lookalikes, that sort of thing. I'd say our key one is going to be just our website visitor focused audience. So for this, we're just doing 180-day website viewers, 90-day website viewers, and that's what's been working for us the best. Again, we're getting a bit more refined on the placements there. But we do a few others, which is like some customer exported lists and that sort of thing for middle of funnel as well. But I would say that combination of website visitors, 180 day is kind of the most effective. And again, for our creative, we're just going to be using, again, authentic but also somewhat refined creative, kind of like what you see here. And this kind of stuff, again, same sort of thing. We're not changing copy too much here. We're keeping it pretty similar. It is different, but it's a bit more focused on the product itself. It's less brand focused, more product focused. So we do have a little bit longer copy there on the middle of funnel side of things. And same thing goes for headline, just a little bit longer, a little bit more detail to give people some more context. But again, the creative is going to be very, very similar, just a different mix. All right. Now, when it comes to upselling and kind of bottom of funnel, because our middle and bottom are somewhat blurred, we do a bit more of upselling. So this is for post purchasers. So here we just have an exported list of people who only bought once, and then we retarget those folks with products that are great combination products. So we're upselling them again to come back into the brand, buy a second product that most likely will go well with their first purchase. And those have been working quite well. Again, we're just focused on a 3-line creative here. It's mostly just about a little bit of social proof to get them back in the door because they are very familiar with the brand, obviously. All right. Okay, fantastic. And we also do have a little bit of a combination audience here when it comes to retargeting. Again, we do have specific ad sets for reels and this and that, just so we can make sure that we keep them all in one place. Again, very simple, very straight to the point, somewhat polished, but also pretty authentic. All right. And when it comes to the targeting on the retargeting campaigns, we're really just focusing on customer lists and website visitors again. So again, 30-day purchase exclusion, customer list. Very simple, right? And same thing goes for this as well. We have a few combinations in here, prospecting and retargeting, but for the most part, we're going to be using those customer lists on the retargeting side because our middle funnel is mostly going to be website visitors. All right. So I hope this video helped. There's a lot there, from stacking audiences to doing your different catalog separation from your conversion separation of middle of funnel, 3-line copy, call to actions, keeping creative in that nice middle ground between authentic and polished. Bunch of different things you can pull out of that. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video, and I hope you can pull some of these strategies and implement them into your own ad campaigns. All right, talk soon.